Okay, you ready?
Yes, I heard your giggle.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we come to you, Father, knowing, Lord, that you are our mighty, our Almighty, Lord. I thank you, Father. I thank you, Lord, for everything that you're doing in our lives, Lord. And I thank you, Lord, that your mercies endure forever, Lord. We just thank you, Lord, for this session today, Father. We invite your Holy Spirit to just guide us and give us retention, Father, and give us opportunities and open doors, ideas and concepts, Father. We just thank you, Lord, that you just continue and just that you just are continuing to just prosper us, Lord. And we just give you praise because you're worthy. We just thank you for everything that you're doing in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for always leading us. Let's see. Sorry, the screen share wants to share my regular screen and not my VPS. You guys can see my VPS now, right?
Yes, now.
All right, cool. That was weird. I don't have my control over my big green box again. Go figure. Well, a couple of housekeeping things for the people who made it on this call. Good morning. As you guys know, Pat is out this week. He is on a cruise with his lovely wife, kind of teaching and preaching that you do not need a lot of time to be a trader. You don't need to spend a lot of time looking for trades. He's been pretty big on that lately. And I will definitely concur that scalping is more something for itching fingers, whereas most big money is not something we spend many hours doing and discussing. It's not as effective. So make sure you guys have sent him some love for his anniversary, and I hope he has a ton of fun in the sun. And they're not hitting any awful weather because it's kind of all foggy here. So I don't know, but we've got like rain every day. So, but they're more south. They left out of Miami, I'm pretty sure. So anyways, after that, we have our, for those of you who did not listen to the audio message of the last video, we are trying to keep that chat. And it's great. I love how we talk. I love how we communicate and we joke and we share life. I definitely want that, which our little group is more conducive of that than some of the bigger, super easy groups. So I'm all for sharing life in there. Let's keep that up. But I also want us to be able to share screenshots. And a screenshot, even myself, I'm working on making a better view of it. Ideally, you'll want to see the pair, you'll want to see the price of where it's at, and you'll want to see things lining up for or against, whatever it is you're trying to show. So as long as they can see the time frame, see the pair, you don't have to have a huge description because ideally, remember, we're not going to blame, Anthony or Catherine or Barbara or whoever posted the screenshot. This isn't about that. This is about having a second set of eyes to say, hey, this is moving. Let's take a look. Or, hey, this is what's happening with this. Let's take a look. Let's, see if we can catch this, especially in the higher time frames. Smaller time frames, obviously, that's much harder to do um, because it's so quick that within milliseconds, if you're late, and then it's too late. So for those of you who are participating, I know Miss Donna is driving right now, but she will kind of count how many entries you guys have per day. Whoever has the highest one, we'll draw their names out of a hat. This time we'll do it live. Last time we messed up. We made a horrible video. Well, the video had no sound, is what we kind of found out, but it was cute and it was funny because we literally on camera drew names from a hat. So um, we will do that again, and this time we will get the sound right. So whoever has the most entries will win. The first prize will win a $100 gift card for Amazon, as well as a kind of private, just in more intimate group of people hanging out. Second prize will be $50 Amazon gift card or PayPal because they're equally as easy for me. So PayPal is just like a click away. Amazon, I have to like do a few more clicks. So whatever you guys prefer. And then third prize is just, an access to that kind of more intimate training. So if you have not been participating or if you're listening to this on a recording, please step up and start posting screenshots. Like start posting what you're looking at because some people are going to agree with you. It's going to help some people. And remember, this isn't about you giving a signal or a trade idea. This is more we the people helping the people. So we can't possibly have our eyes on everything. And we don't have to say, oh my gosh, well, thank you, Barbara. You just, made me $1 bajillion. You can say, this strategy is working. Who is it? Catherine says this, and I can hear the joy in her voice when she said that. She said it's the golden strategy. It works on everything. So you can say the golden strategy. This is what we're doing, so people understand. And let me mute whoever has some background noise. There we go. Sorry about that. Somebody's got a little munchkin in the background being all cutesy, and I think I know whose munchkin that is. Pretty confident, actually. That's okay. So that's the idea. It's not about it being somebody's fault. good or bad, just say this is, this is based off of the golden strategy or the scalping strategy. I think I like Miss Catherine's joyous voice when she said Jenny's golden strategy, so we can totally stick with that. People will understand that it's based off of following the rules. So, and they're just giving you some insight. So for those of you who are sending them to my private messages, I get it, you're shy, but it's not about being right or wrong. And it's more about sharing your ideas. Because I promise you, if you do post something that's quote unquote wrong, having the feedback from somebody like Catherine or somebody like Jamie or Scott to jump in and say, hey, wait a minute, that's not quite the entry you're looking for, hold off. Or, hey, I'm seeing something else, maybe we should consider something else. You'll have saved yourself some money and you'll save other people, that effort too. So sharing it in the group is the idea. And for those of you who are sending my private messages, that's not going to get entries into the contest. So you guys have to post them in the group. Promise it's not about having to take blame or being afraid to be wrong. This group is independent traders, and most of the people in here are on a different level mentally and emotionally. So they understand that this is self-accountability and not, so-and-so's fault for posting a picture, because nothing is somebody else's fault. So totally blame-free, just ideas only. Anybody have any questions on that?
I just thank you, Jenny, for clarifying that, because that's what I thought it was all along, because that's why I was posting mine for someone to tell me if I'm doing something wrong, because I do tend to, I'm working on trading into support and resistance. So that's why I was posting mine. So.
Well, yeah, the support and resistance is kind of big. I see Catherine has on that trend line indicator. I see people have different things, and that some of them I truly, can see. Some of them I'm like, not my style. But at the end of the day, that's okay. It doesn't have to be my style. I'll again use Catherine's words when she said this, just the golden strategy. She goes, it works on everything. She goes, even on the signals and on other things. I popped to different time frames because it really does when you have the eyes to see it. So it's about I got a lot of messages saying, well, I'm afraid of being wrong, or what if somebody takes my signal and I was wrong? I said, it's not a signal. Well, somebody said thank you to somebody. I'm like, well, we say thank you in this group.
Right. Yeah.
So I've literally gotten that level of conversation.
Oh, wow.
Somebody said thank you to somebody. I think it was somebody said thank you to Catherine. So see, they're getting the credit for it. I was like, it's not about the credit. It's just a strategy. And anybody who took that, they knew that it was this is just an idea. So that's all. It's just an idea. Good job on the strategy. There you go. You don't take any ownership. It's just trade ideas. So that's all. Let's see. Okay. So as you guys anybody else have any questions in terms of that? We're going to run that for 2 weeks, hopefully get us in a really good spot. As I start to teach other things, that's kind of my concept, is to help you guys, just to promote and to encourage you guys posting screenshots. Because if you were each doing this an hour or two a day, you will potentially have helped hundreds of people see this in a more clear way. You will potentially have helped at least a couple of dozen literally make a huge impact in your life. So that's what, in their life, and that's what I'm kind of going for. Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns in terms of people posting screenshots of what they're seeing based off of at least the fundamentals, which is the MACD, 3 and the 9 and the 50? Anybody else? Hey, Jay, no, that's okay. It's not bad. Trust me. I'm like, we say thank you in this group. Jay, the person who messaged me, and I'm sorry to call them out, but they were like, well, if I post something and then it's wrong, then, people are going to be upset with me. And I said, no, it's not about that. We're just sharing ideas. He said, if it's not about that, then somebody wouldn't have said thank you to so-and-so. I'm like, that's not a really mature level of thinking. Like, well, we got to get beyond that. This is just ideas. So, but we deal with all kinds of people from all walks of life. So we're all growing together, right? So no hard feelings, I promise.
Yeah, hello, Ms. Jenny.
Hey.
Yeah, this is Lamar.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I wanted to ask, for the scrapping strategy, is there another method? Because the one that I know of is having 5 minutes, then you move down to the 1 minute chart, you take your trade after confirming all these the setup on the 5 minute chart. then you move down to the 1 minute chart and you take your trade? Or is there another strategy apart from that? I don't know, because I have the eight what's it called, the eight MACD that is from Scott, and I've been trying to like work things out on that, but I'm a little bit confused if there is another method, taking the scalping strategy using the 5 minutes chart, then you move to the 1 minute chart and you take your trade.
Okay, so I think that what you're asking, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is if this is if there's another leader taking it on different time frames. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yes. Some people are taking it from a different time frame. Yes, exactly. I do always see that. So I'm a little bit confused if there's another method or something. So that's why I want to ask if there's
Okay,
another.
and it's that sort of thing. So within the super easy, where I'm very limited to what I can go into depth with, discuss and teach and preach. And the reason why is we're just regular people, guys. We're not, I have no background in this. So we're trying to promote an environment where the beginners can learn on their terms, right? To where we don't bombard them with different levels of information, right? But we also need to promote an environment where there's a lot more freedom to openly express and to grow and to adapt. So this group is more along those lines. So I hope that this answers your question. And here's what I'm trying to say. In this group, this strategy, and actually most strategies, believe it or not, work on many, many different time frames, and they work many, many different ways at the end of the day. So regardless of whether you're using the Ichimoku cloud, comparable to what Elvis does, regardless of whether you love this strategy, regardless of whether you love the triple arrows, most of these things work on many time frames in many different ways. So ultimately, those screenshots are going to be posted for different time frames. Different people are going to have different, little doohickeys on here. I'm going to say that inappropriately there. They're going to have different stuff. The original time frame, not so much, right? The original strategy is very, very simple. It's not complex, but to be able to advance and to learn, you'll get a chance to see as some people evolve. You'll get a chance to see and learn and adapt with them. Which, if you're open to that, will cut your learning curve in half. So, for example, Anthony, when he first started posting screenshots, he posted it with the RSI, thinking that it was a necessity. Now he already knows that this indicator that we built. So my strategy, Scott's creation, where I guess we're mama and daddy, it really does answer most everything you need to know. And because he built in the ADX alert with it, it even answers this stuff too. So this one indicator is all you need. But you get a chance to evolve with all of us by looking at those different time frames. Ultimately, the rules are the rules, and those are all recorded. The rules are the rules, and those are all written down. They are all in the recording. They're literally in the pinned post. There's no exception. It explains the single time frame and the multi time frame entries. But we still want the freedom in this group to be able to share ideas. And that's kind of what I was discussing with the person who was messaging me, saying, well, I don't want the blame. I don't want the reward or the blame. We have to be free to grow together and to discuss this together. So yeah, they're going to be different time frames, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Do you understand?
Okay, so how do I be taking the scalping strategy, or should I be taking it just from 1 minute time frame, or should I go to the normal process, which is 5 minutes confirmation, then I move to the 1 minute time frame to take the trade? So, in your opinion, what do you suggest I should do taking the scalping strategy?
Okay, so this screen that you see right now, this is the scalping strategy. This is it. I took a couple of entries on gold this morning. You can see where they opened and closed. The ultimate strategy, so we're Jenny's golden strategy, okay, is basically it's this fancy MACD, a 50 SMA,
Okay.
a 3 and a 9 EMA.
Yeah.
I like the fractals on there. If they don't help you, take them off. That's fine. Okay. And then that's really it. So what you're looking for, if I kind of zoom this out and make it kind of ugly with all those dots, is you're looking for, as a single time frame entry, you want price and the 3 EMA to be above the 50 as a single time frame entry. So that's it. You're looking for pretty much this move. On a multi-time frame entry, notice that this is the 4-hour chart. You're looking for this move. So this is breaking above the 50, right? On the next highest time frame. That's how you're going to always trade in the trend. And all these little white arrows that show up, these allow you to take re-entries based off of what the actual pair is doing, rather than trading reversals. So the triple arrow system is great in many, many ways, but it is a counter trend trading system. It is a reversal trading system. Gold is moving, I think, still. Let's take a look.
Yes, it's breaking out again.
Bear with me. Let's catch it. I'm thinking it's going to the ADR high before it pulls back, but keep in mind it just broke a couple of new highs. So odds are, can somebody measure to the ADR high for me while I'm talking? Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Scott. So this is the 1 minute chart. We are breaking above again, and I will measure how far it is to the ADR high. Now, again, if we're going for this many pips, this is not something where you have a tight stop loss. This is something where you give it room to move. So we have to understand the difference. We got into a little trouble in that last week where I held those trades. Other people just had their scalping settings on, so they did not hold those trades. So for example, here's the 5 minute chart. Here's what I'm seeing on gold. Let's zoom out in. So we just broke above this high. Do you guys see this? That high and this high. Now this is a brand new candle, so this could literally push up real hard, wick, and then go down. So thank you, Catherine. It's another 43 pips. That's a risky trade. We just broke new highs. It needs to pull back. Do I think it probably will hit this area? Yes, I do. Am I pretty confident of it in terms of how I trade? Yep, I am. It's definitely an easy to capture trade. So if we go down to the smaller time frame, the 1 minute or the 5 minute, I'll double click on the side. Here we go. Okay. We wait for this to kind of pull back a little bit, and then we take it up. So we do want to wait for a nice little pullback. The odds are we will get one, or we are going to miss it and it's going to break out without us. Those are the risks you take in trading. But this strategy was designed to limit the amount of risk, and it works. So for the guy who's asking questions, I'll go back to US 30. Well, this is the strategy. This is it. The entire thing. And I promise you, it's in every one of those videos. So I'll go to the pinned post. We do have, let's see, Coinbase. I know that there's a 30-minute video. I'll have to find it on my YouTube. I would tell you to look, but most everything is private, so you can't really see it. I will find the 30-minute one that kind of explains the original strategy better. If anybody knows which one that is, I would super appreciate it, because Donna and I looked yesterday and we were a little bit at a loss finding which one it was. So, and then there's a 10-minute video explaining the same thing. And of course, Scott's MACD is explained as well. Does that help you or help you answer your question, or?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm still there.
Okay. Okay. Well, hopefully that will kind of answer your questions in terms of it's okay to use other time frames. If you're looking to do this on the 1 minute, you're basically just following the trend on the 5. That's how this is set up. And it's not that you're taking 1 minute. It's not that you're trading the 1 minute chart. You're taking re-entries on the 1 minute based off of the 5 minute. Do you understand that?
Okay.
It's breaking out. I would take an entry now. I would enter gold. But you might have to widen your stop loss, because this is going to pull back. It's just a matter of when it's going to pull back. And since it's gold, it's going to pull back a lot. It'll really save 40 pips if you're willing to give it enough pips to play out. That's up to you, though.
Excuse me, Miss Jenny.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, were you guys gonna do any swing trading today?
So here's what I would like to discuss. I've got a couple people who have volunteered to watch gold or watch a few pairs. hopefully they're willing to interrupt. I know that it's not necessarily a cultural thing to be willing to interrupt, but you guys can send me a private message even on Zoom or Telegram. I will get it. Send me when we see a scalp. But in terms of scalping, what I really wanted to go over today was actually this easy ADX. So that's on mine. I'll go over scalps a little bit. Yesterday was a holiday, so the market needs to recoup. JPY and US pairs really reacted quite extensively from that holiday. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time to kind of balance back out. As you notice, most pairs did a massive pullback. A USD, JPY, what is it, Euro, NZD, those all fell. Quite a few pairs made some drastic moves. So now I'm waiting for them to reveal the actual trend, because I don't trade the reversals or the pullbacks as much. I try to go with I trade pullbacks, but I trade with the trend typically.
Okay. I was just wondering because I was about to head to work and I'm not going to be able to sit through the class.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Let me see.
I'll catch the video after I get off.
Fair enough. The cool thing about swing trades is most of them, they're not about an ideal entry. Like, you'll have some time. If I were going into work right now and you can trust the system, I would say you've got some room on gold to push up with an easy 30, 40 pips. Easy.
Okay.
That's my opinion. So if you're looking for a single swing trade to enter, I'd have like a 35 pip take profit, maybe a 20 pip trailing stop, but I would give it more room to move than most of you guys would be willing to give it. So I would not put a tight stop loss on it because it's going to pull back hard.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You are welcome. I hope you have a great day at work. Okay, so back to what I was saying. If we've got a couple people who are willing to keep an eye on gold and stuff, I've got US 30 up because I was playing with it extensively. And what I wanted to talk about was how many of you guys are using this other version of an ADX? How many of you really like it? Notice, yeah, mine is layered, but how many of you really, really like it? Anybody?
I liked it when I was first using it, when Catherine put it in there. I liked it.
Do you love it or do you like it?
I liked it.
Okay. I know. Go ahead, DJ.
Oh no, I was on the fence about it. I mean, I know it's the exact same one as it just looks a little different from the original one, but it says the exact same thing. But if you're using it to trade this strategy, then I don't think it's necessary.
That's true. I agree with that.
I agree with that too. I don't use it anymore either, Jenny. There's so much built into the indicator that the RSI and the ADX are not necessary.
See, there you go. Hey, Scott, we did something here. I've got a lot of people saying just the MACD. And honestly, I would definitely think that just the MACD is enough. But something here, so Dorian, Steve, well, not Steve, Cordelia, Jay, quite a few people are saying just the MACD. So having said that, let me mute you guys again. Mute all, continue. There you go. What I wanted to point out was on my ADX, well, not mine, but the standard ADX, we can't see the consolidation as well. Because, like, so for example, I took those white lines off. You can only see, I can see it, but most of you guys can't see this momentum being below here. So for those of you who have a hard time seeing my ADX and are using the triple arrows, if you wait until after you have a nice gap, until after it's consolidated, that means, for example, you got your triple arrows here, you had a push up, this would not be your entry. You'd wait till after it pulled back, because it almost always pulls back, not always, but it almost always pulls back and then consolidates prior to the breakout. What I was really kind of paying attention to, and I gave it to my friend to run it through a strategy tester actually, to see if it improved or so increased or decreased the results with the triple arrow system. And I'm pretty sure the results are going to say that this will improve. So if you filter results based off of just the lower momentum, and again, this helps with lower momentum. I still prefer mine. My eyes just see it pretty well, and I love the ADX. But for those of you who like this, when you take away this whole consolidating area, which is typically turn whatever color you have it set to, typically white is what I'm pretty sure comes standard as, I took that off. So that gap, that's where you're looking. After the gap is where you'd be looking for your entry at the triple arrow system. Because that's where you're going to get.
Oh,
Do you guys see that?
yeah, I do. And I seen it on the image that you posted, how you had it layered like that. Because when Catherine first put it in there, I noticed that the grayed area, you know, that and then Scott pointed out that that was a consolidation. But it, now that you re-mentioned it, it makes more sense.
See, I still like this. When my white line and my so my buyers and my sellers, my positive DI or positive or negative DIs are below here, I am typically, I know I'm staying out. I'm waiting for the breakout. Okay. And consolidation isn't bad. In fact, consolidation is usually where you get this big drop from. People get terrified or frustrated at stuff like this. But the truth is, this area is where you get this. You're almost never going to get those big drops, with the exception of news, obviously, without some level of the market kind of stalling out. This is collecting all those contracts, and it's stagnant, you know, market manipulation. And then it basically, if you think of a water balloon, it holds so much and then it explodes one way or the other. Consolidation is good for trading. It's not bad.
Okay, I see.
Thank you for mentioning that. I never looked at it that way.
Yeah, that's very, that's good.
But I'll let you guys know once I get the report back on the easy ADX and how it affects the triple arrows. Seriously though, if you like the way that looks and you can't see this, then I would highly recommend you add this version. My settings, I would still keep it set at 10. I mean, I still prefer mine personally, but either way, this might be a really good asset for those of you who can't see this is consolidating, or this level of kind of twisty lines is confusing to you. Then I think that's a great idea. So I just wanted to show you guys that. I was kind of happy.
Why does yours look different than the standard one that you download off of Marketplace?
Because mine is layered with my actual one.
Oh, okay. Because I was going crazy. Thank you for confusing me. And well, Barbara just told me it was my fault.
She did. See? Good morning, Derek. How are you?
I'm okay. I've been up all night, so my brain is kind of like, ugh.
Why were you up all night?
Dreaming of gold, but it hasn't been moving too much, you know, so I should have just slapped out of bed. Yeah.
You totally should.
Yeah.
Y'all only people in London's make me zombies. I can't even with you.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah, you're right. Hard head makes soft bottom.
It does. It does. This is true. This is definitely true. Okay, does anybody have any questions on this easy ADX? A lot of people were asking about it. I love the momentum on my ADX, and I definitely, I absolutely love it. But this actually has a built-in. So if the ADX is too low, this is going to tell us. It's a little harder to back test it to see where it was. I don't know if Scott has that, if I can, to where like I could see what was going on with the warnings at certain times. But other than that, seriously, this already tells us what's going on. So if my ADX is low, I know I'm waiting.
Yeah, to provide a history on that would be just increased ugliness, I think.
True. I think so. I do think so. It works, guys. So for those of you who love it, now you know how to use it. And I would definitely use it more based off of this than these big moves. Because this is not going to be nearly as significant as this one is. Anything after consolidation is more significant. Okay.
Hello, Jenny. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm kind of new. Well, I'm new to the group and all these things. So I was just wondering, how do you get access to all these indicators?
So welcome, first of all. I hope that you find your place. So you need to be added to the We the People Forex Family Trading Group. Are you in that group?
No, I'm just in the Signal group.
Okay, so Miss Donna, I know that she'll have some time. If you can message her directly, she will add you. I also added a link. I'm sure it's already disabled by now, but that's how you would get in there. Once you're in, there's a pinned post with a ton of videos and of course instructions that tell you exactly what the strategy is, how to use it, about the custom built indicator. This indicator really is kind of it does a lot of things if you're open to it. So it does an awful lot. It'll explain how it's made, how to use it, and everything that goes into it. And I'm pretty sure Scott even has another version going out soon, from what I understand.
Yes, a bug fix.
Okay, gotcha. You can re-enter gold. Ooh, US 30 and gold almost never move in the same direction. That's not.
Thank you, Ms. Jenny.
You are welcome. I would be more interested in buying US 30 right now than gold. Hold on, delete this. You are welcome. And start there. Then, of course, once you've kind of had a week to digest all that information, from there, that's when you would go ahead and, okay, come on up here, take your questions and give it a try. But you have to stick with it for enough weeks for it to be valid. You have to stick with it for enough weeks to actually stick and to learn something from it. Fair enough?
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
You're welcome, and welcome to the team.
Thank you. You're welcome.
One thing that is missing from the pin posts and everything else, and even if you go and look for YouTube tutorials, is how to use Telegram to get files off of it. There are no instructions that I've seen for that, so we have to kind of keep re-explaining it. So maybe you or I or somebody should just make a video that explains how to do that.
How about this? I will make a video on whatever, Telegram tomorrow. Deal?
Okay.
You want to explain it? You want to make a video with me?
I can help. That no problem.
Because you're more detail oriented in that direction.
Well, it's not that hard. It's just that people get lost as to how to figure it out. So, and especially there is one fellow who was trying to use the web version, and there isn't a clean way of downloading files. That you have to have the app.
True. I don't think you can only access a very, very small amount on the web, right?
That was amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see, guys. US 30 and gold usually moves in opposite directions. I mean, again, nothing is written in stone. Well, retesting this kind of zone in this area, I'm kind of curious of what's going to happen, though.
Well, the way I look at it is depending on what the motivation is for everything. Gold right now is still 3,500 pips off of the all-time highs. But for our current price, it's been 7 years since we were at this price level.
On gold, right?
On gold, yeah. Now, US 30 has been pushing all-time highs. I think that might be, gold is considered a safe haven. And so global risk is kind of what drives gold prices. And people are seeing a lot of risk out there. But US 30, I'm not sure. I think that's FOMO myself.
A fear of missing out.
Yep.
I had to think about that. I had to process that, Scott. I was like, is that another news abbreviation? I don't know. Okay. I caught on. It took a second. I caught on.
Yeah, because I think that because it's moving, people are piling on. And because people are piling on, it's moving. It's, irrational exuberance.
Always. Okay. So, but with where prices, why is it doing that, silly butt? Let's see. I'm going to get another line. So no other broker as well as TradingView does not have a gap on US 30 or gold, right? That's only on Hugo's way. Anybody know if you guys had a gap on US 30 or gold? Like I have a gap on US 30.
CoinX has a gap right now on US 30.
But nothing on TradingView does, right? Because I looked, I was like, ooh, I'm so trading that gap. I'm pretty sure it does not, but I will look. Anybody know if it?
Yeah, AFX is gapping down.
AFX. So all three brokers. Anybody have a different broker that's gapped on US 30 or?
Yeah, I think Hugo's way is.
Oh, wait a minute. I think that what the deal is because this is, we had a holiday
Yeah.
and it probably wasn't traded because it's US market.
Huh. I got a new share.
Although we've got a day's worth of candles, so I don't know.
So this is Trading View on currency.com. I see markets have a gap too. That means we would have a very strong amount of time to go up. So this is
we also have an hour gap of no trading every day. So it trades from 1 to 2400 according to the contract specs.
Yeah. That's 130 pips. Or 1300 according to this pair. Hey, Dewey, I muted you just so you know. Scott, you're still unmuted. Okay, well.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to, can you just bring MT4 back up to the foreground?
New share. Bring MT4 up. Like so?
Yeah, bring up your market watch. And go down to US 30, right click and select specification. Good idea to show everybody this again. So this is all the information about this particular symbol in the marketplace and tells you what your market hours are. So there are quotes available from 1 o'clock server time on, which would be 6 p.m. Eastern. And you can't trade until 3 minutes past that or 4 minutes past that. So this gives you your gap time. This is about the same market times as gold.
Well,
So
yeah,
no trading.
the indices are almost the same as gold, but they're not the same as gold though, right?
Well, for timing, that's what I'm talking about. So you
Okay.
notice it shuts down 15 minutes before 5 o'clock for quoting and for trading.
Execution, pending through a good till cancel. So if you're buying it, your swap type, that's your, so it's in points. If you're buying it, you're going to pay this. If you're selling it, you're going to earn this. But on Fridays, you get 3 times that.
Yep.
So people on Friday, they would have made money on that sell if they held that over the weekend. Based just on positive spread alone, which isn't a bad positive spread. That's not, I mean, especially in comparison, that's not bad at all.
Positive swap, you mean? And
Yep. Yes, that's correct. Positive swap.
just keep you from confusing people.
That's okay. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
1000%.
I was about to say, what's positive spread?
Well, I was thinking positive spread, but he is
Well,
right.
that's the broker's viewpoint.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, that's okay.
So it's just, if you're confused about markets, what times things are open, things like that, that's how you get to it. You right click on the currency in your market watch, and then you can look at the contract specifications. So that's all I wanted to point out.
Okay.
So one of those things that not too many people know about, and it's good to keep reminding because there's always new folks.
Absolutely. No, thank you. I super appreciate it. Gold is still pushing back down, which would explain US 30 going up. But either way, one of these gaps have to fill. So this one gapped up, right? So gold gapped up, US 30 gapped down. Is that right, guys? Well, today now, but that gap could have been based off of holidays alone. And that's a big gap to wait to fill. A very good big gap. 82. But so here's how I'm seeing gold for those of you who are trading it not in terms of a quick scalp, is we have our breakout candle. So we broke a fractal high. This is the 1 hour chart. I super value that. Okay. Entire strategy is based off of just that alone, right? We're now retesting 50% of that candle. You can see it's literally coming exactly down to that line. If we continue to break below, obviously what I'm saying now will be invalid. But as price currently stands, what we have is it's just retesting, totally fine. We want it to kind of retest, stall out, probably freak everybody out for a while, pop up to the ADR high before it decides if it's going to continue down, close this gap, or actually have a market reversal. But as of right now, this is still a buyer's market across the board, and it will remain so. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. And in terms of US 30, I would only scalp US 30. I don't take long-term trades on US 30. It is an account blower. I know there's a guy in our group who's really practicing the NAS 100. That's great. But again, I would only scalp this. So pretty simple. I use something kind of like this to scalp it. We're now breaking above. This is set at the 50 EMA, believe it or not, which is kind of contradictory to our indicator, but I still like it. So here's why. This is what it's set at. Next higher exponential close, 50 dependencies, and you guys know the rest. Okay. But this doesn't give us a heads up yet until after. The simple EMA would be down here. It would be in between these two by a lot, actually. So if you guys can see where price is currently at, I'll show you where it would be if I change the settings. Inputs. Simple. Dorian, should we expect it to consolidate after it reverses, after filling in the ADR before it breaks out again? Usually once it hits that ADR, I mean, it depends if it consolidates before or after. You guys see where this line went? So if it consolidates before, it technically can have a breakout move to the upside and stay to the upside. If it consolidates after, then you'd be waiting for the breakout move probably back down to the downside for a healthy pullback. Is kind of how I would see it. Exponential. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, Scott, what are the changes you wanted to make to version 9? Is it just a bug fix and email notifications, like so text message alert, or what is it exactly?
Yeah, there's only one addition, and that's the emails. I'm not doing text messages. I'm doing what's built into MT4 without doing a lot of other fancy stuff. So I've already made all the changes, but I do want to do a license change while I'm at this because it's a good opportunity to do that.
Okay, and how would that work in terms of oversight like we've discussed?
It'll be the same. What I'm going to do is I want to collect one more piece of information, and that is everybody's email. You know, you sign in with your email that you use to sign up for Super Easy. I don't intend to use that for anything aside from a unique identifier for people.
Okay.
But it gives me the opportunity to use it in the future should I want to. I could import a list of email addresses from Pat and use that to call the list. And it would also give me the opportunity to whitelist or blacklist people.
Hey, Donna, can you hear us? She might be walking Kaden into school.
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, on the cancellation report in the paid for membership group of the Super Easy Signals group specifically, you have their usernames on Telegram and their emails, correct? Or no email?
No email. Pat would have that. But I would just have their, on my spreadsheet, I usually just have their first and last name and if they have a username or not. Or whatever they're using for the Telegram group.
So the hard part, Scott and Donna, to that is that from my understanding, and again, I don't know what I don't know, but combining the email addresses with the Telegram's usernames actually has not been done. Hence the reason Pat agreed to hire on Donna to manage the group.
Right,
Because
and Telegram
yeah,
usernames can be changed at a whim.
that's the other problem is they don't have any actual. Yeah.
Yep. So the email that people use to sign up for Super Easy would be the ideal thing to be able to get hold of, and I'm sure Pat has that information because he was using it for the back end for the what does he call it? The dashboard.
Yeah.
For the dashboard and the daily
Yeah,
dots.
just yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one.
Well, we might have to wait till Pat gets back for that, Scott, because I'm pretty sure it's definitely a conversation that I don't know has been done. So he doesn't have, a lot of people didn't sign up or did sign up with real names. And that it's a real topic. So then you'd have to link them to Donna would have to basically create a spreadsheet with the emails and then the names and the telegrams, and then use that as the cancellation report to send to you every 2 weeks. It's always done on the 1st and the 15th of every month, just so you know.
Okay. So if I have just not even a list of cancellations, but just a list of actives, I can produce what I need from that.
Donna, do you even have a list of actives?
List of active members? Yeah.
Okay.
By email though.
But no, I don't. Everything that I have is first and last name.
Okay, here's the problem with first and last name, and this is the reason I want to change the licensing, is that, you know, with different brokers, you get different information, and, you know, whatever shows up in the broker is however you enter the information when you open the account. So I've seen people in the list of licenses that are last name, and first name, last name. So it's using two.
Yeah.
So two slots for one person.
Joe asked in the chat, can we just PM the emails? Technically, yeah, guys, but I'm still, so Scott volunteered to make this indicator. He did that on his own volition. Like, we have an amazing group of really strong people who all have different skill sets. I mean, this was, again, just based off of my strategy. He has improved it exponentially. Having said that, I am still going to be an advocate of time management and automation, okay? Lack of hours. So please understand that several hundred people in and out setting an email is not a viable solution, I assure you.
No, I'll go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah.
No, but here, the way it's going to work is that when you get the new version 9 indicator, there will be a grace period. I would expect everyone to switch over to version 9. And version 9 is going to use a different licensing system where you have to enter into the settings your email address, and that would be your unique identifier. Okay. So if you put in your email, that's unique identifier. I don't need to know, you know, the active members and so forth, unless I run into a problem where we have too many people signing up. And what I can, you know, the thing that I could do to keep it from, you know, somebody saying, okay, I'm going to give this to my 10 brothers and their, you know, 50,000 kids, or whatever that works out to being, is that, you know, I'm going to count the number of account numbers that it's reporting back for an individual user and set that to a reasonable number. No, I'm thinking something like 10 accounts. Each one email address can go up to 10 accounts.
That's too many.
You know,
sorry.
Well, look, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter to me. We set a limit. And so that's the number of activations you can have for different accounts.
I was going to say, well, you realize that I have on average 6 MT4s running, but actively speaking, I typically only have 4 to 5 accounts. Typically that 6th account is more for testing or for play, bots and whatever. So yeah, that's a lot of accounts per one person. Even if they change their account, I mean, ultimately, yeah, probably maybe 5 accounts, 6, 7 at the most.
Okay, you know, we can come down to that number, and it's something that can be set on a whim too. So.
Okay, fair enough. As long as I'm not creating a bunch of oversight, because
believe me, I'm not going to sign up for that.
Okay, I'm just trying to protect my favorite coding genius, because I want you around a while and I like some of the stuff you make. So.
And I don't. That's not how I want to spend my life. I don't sign up for anything that I can't automate.
There you go. That's smart. That's good business. Okay, that's business across the board, guys. If you haven't read like the 4-Hour Work Week, you totally should. Quit building anything you can't eventually automate ever.
I'm willing to do grunt and go work for one pass. And if I have to do it more than once, I will spend hours writing a tool to keep me from having to do that again.
Yeah, you will. I know you will. Hey guys, who was the guy who just asked about a swing trade? Does anybody know his name? I forget. Or if it came up. Anybody?
Lamar. I think it was Lamar.
I think it was Lamar. If you guys can message him, somebody send him some love. USD CAD is a really good sell. It's not going to knock you out in terms of a stop loss. Odds are in favor that you have plenty of room to finish playing around before it finally drops. But that's a really good swing trade. A very, very good swing trade for anybody who wants to send him a message for me.
Yeah, I got stopped out slightly in profit on that one.
That holiday knocked me out of a lot of stuff yesterday morning. Well, yesterday-ish, during the day, all the way throughout the day. So now I'll look for re-entries, but we have to wait for these pullbacks to stop. So odd JPY pulled back, and it's all in profit, which is great, but it's just one of those like annoying things. So odd JPY, USD CAD, or which one?
No, GCAD last night or this morning, whenever it happened, I woke up to where it hit my, I guess my stop loss wasn't wide enough.
Yeah, it nailed mine this morning too.
Yeah.
How many pips was your stop loss?
Oh, I don't remember. I think I was going to the ADR, so I want to say it was like it was 1-to-1 ratio. So I was going for like 80 pips, I think, on that one because it was to the ADR. I don't remember. I have to go back and look. I just saw that I woke up this morning to a lower account. It wasn't much, but it's still, it's like, okay, what knocked me out last night? So.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I got knocked out in profit, thankfully, but yeah, it's kind of playing. Everything's going to play for a minute. This is the kind of market that day after a holiday, sometimes you just have to stay out. That's just the way it is. And could that have something to do with the virus I can't pronounce? Maybe. Could it have something to do with the holiday? Yeah. And Trump and his mouth? Probably. But either way, our job isn't to know that. It's to kind of wait to see when everything gets done playing its foolery. I'll use Pat's word. Let's see. Here's odd JPY. Again, my bias, it's right now, it's just still playing. Huge impulse to the downside. We kind of re-pushed up. We're waiting. And that's all. We're just waiting. Totally waiting. And that's kind of going to be most of the day. You have to wait for this breakout move to complete, wait for the pullback, because now, again, we've got our direction. We're pretty confident of it. Breakout moves are exactly what we want to see. Woohoo, we're happy. But now a smart trader would wait for it to pull back. But people see this and they're like, oh, I want in. I don't mind taking a later entry when I have to. But if I can wait for the pullback, I'd much rather do that. Because I'll miss 3 out of 10 moves. That's fine. But then the 7 out of 10 will have a lot higher risk to reward ratio and success rate. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on. The few pairs where we got the breakouts. Hold on, which ones are there? GBPUSD. Trying to think. This one also needs to pull back now. So if we go to a higher time frame, we are coming up on this area. We have not yet broken it. Either way, are we going to get probably one more push to the top side? Odds are in favor of that. We do need to wait for it to pull back. We need to wait for that. And that's how it is on most of the pairs. Odd USD is the same. Odd JPY is the same. This pulled back exponentially, especially for a slow moving pair. And that's sad. Very, very sad. So does anybody have any questions on this indicator or a scalp or anything specifically you're looking at? I would wait to take an entry on US 30 for those of you who are interested in compounding indices. And in terms of gold, we can take, but it's pulling back. It's going to keep pulling back for a minute. What is gold doing?
It's climbing.
Okay, that's good. That's a good problem to have. We got our pullback. We got our re-entries. Let's go to smaller time frame.
That came down, did a really nice retest on the higher time frame 50.
This is all I have set up. Well, I like it better without the dots. This is how I have it set up. Just this indicator. This repaints how many? You guys said 2. I think it's 3. Am I wrong?
I've seen it do 1 in history. I've not seen it do more, but I haven't been watching it much. It's not on my chart.
Catherine, does this repaint 2 or 3 times for the bars? Let's see if she's on. Well, I know she's on, but she's also dealing with patience. Oh, and I did talk to Catherine this weekend. She asked me to make a couple of things, so I will do so. We are also going to see if we can't release something in terms of the indices and the US 30 NAS 100. So it's in the process. She kind of knows the criteria, and she's definitely more advanced in terms of spreadsheets than me. And I'm just more advanced in terms of trading. So it kind of works out perfectly. If we can put those heads together, perfect. Okay, so it is 3. Perfect. But either way, one of the things that she said, and again, I could hear the joy in her voice, is it just works. Most of us, we want to keep, including myself, we want to keep taking all these entries and we feel like, oh my gosh, we missed it. But most of us lose on most of these slightly counter trend trades long term. So if we want to catch the long-term move, remember, this is just the 50. It's a slightly more, the exponential 50 is a little bit faster in definition, if I'm saying that right. Is that right, Scott?
I'm sorry, I was in the process of yawning.
Well, that was rude. And I was even being nice to you. Look at that. How rude.
What's the question?
Is the exponential 50 technically just faster? Am I saying that right?
Yes. Yeah. It responds more quickly to recent price action than it does to previous price action. And it's dependent on your period as to what that discount is for, I just did a lot of looking into this just because that's sort of the bug lie in the indicator. But the exponential moving average for a 10 period is about an 18% discount for each prior candle going back.
There is one thing I'd want you to do. I'd want you to make it to where I can choose between simple and exponential on the biased for that indicator.
So you want to switch for...
No, I want the option to switch.
Right.
I want the option. And like you and I can do a Zoom and I can show you, or I can even show you on this. I don't want it long-term, but I want the option for it.
Okay.
Because I play with my 50s. 50 is my biggest thing, right?
Yep.
So, and it's not just that it's mine, the banks use it. So I just got pretty good at using it. That's all. But I really, really, really like this set as an exponential. And I'm kind of curious what it would do with the bias timeframes, what the bias will do if we changed this.
It should change more quickly.
More quickly. So more inaccurate entries.
Well, let's think about that. If your smaller time frame 50 is an exponential and your higher time frame 50 is exponential, it may cross it close to the same time. You can find that out easily enough by just putting both an exponential and a simple on the chart at the same time.
So that we're going to keep this as simple. We're going to keep your colors too. Your colors, yellow and green and red. That's where it is. See it?
Mm-hmm. Now, if you change the near term one, you find out where that cross would be, but because that's kind of the bigger question.
So technically the EMA is faster in most circumstances, except for in trending markets. You see how this is above and that's below? So this
Yep.
would be giving us an entry. You see this?
Right.
This is giving us an entry. This is smart enough not to. Do you see? So kind of looking throughout this changes. I know it's kind of really zoomed in and kind of ugly. But
Yes,
this
it's
starts
responding to the
changing our-
moving to the rising prices more quickly, so it's pushing that average up.
So look, this right here is giving us a bias to buy, whereas this one would have kept us in a sell. So the false entries we're getting, okay, are based off of the 50 being an SMA.
Right. So you're just interested in the higher time frame.
You can remember this as a single time frame for re-entries. So if we're using this as a single screen, which is what you designed this to do, and plus you didn't like the 0 lines of my MACDs, right? So since what you designed this to do, we needed to do it effectively, right? And the most effective way to do that, from what I can see, is putting it as an exponential. Does anybody see that? Have questions, comments, concerns, disagreements? Come on, discuss. Do you see what I'm seeing? This right here changed our bias.
The question is, do you want to change the 50 on the 1 minute? Because that's also simple, isn't it?
This is still simple.
Yeah.
But we're not getting our alerts based off of this.
Yeah, we do get one, if price crosses the 50, we get a signal.
Oh, on this time frame.
Right. That's a re-entry signal.
Ready? Here. So we got a signal here, but that's the 3 and the 9 cross. It's right there. And then we've got one based off of the 50. I think that is less significant. What's most significant is the bias, the overall bias and trend. So how do we avoid these entries? This right here is telling us that we're in buyer's territory. So here I'll drop a line just to kind of show you, provided my magic mouse. Right? So we get this bias, and technically you'd win, but we both know most people hesitate for 3 candles, freaking out, finally enter, and then take a loss. Right? And this is a scalping strategy. You don't have 3 candles. You don't have 180 seconds to think about if you feel like taking the trade. It's this matches my rules or it doesn't, I press click, period. So this is the kind of entries people take, and technically they're following the rules. But if you have a counter discussion, I'm all for it. I just wanted to show you that. Because look, that happens a couple of times. So this is all biased in buyer's territory. And then when this big drop comes, we're just now getting out of neutral. So this one works out. But if we test it over time, we're back in neutral. We would miss this either way. We'd miss this. That's a great entry. We miss it because we don't get an alert. We don't get an arrow because it's not we're missing this entry. We took this losing entry. This one worked out. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, but you also have that area, you kind of look where price is bouncing between the exponential and the simple, just to the left side end of the screen right there. You've got a bunch of entries that are questionable entries because everything is consolidating around that one space.
Yep. Well, and this is US 30, so this is not an easy pair to trade or master or scalp in any sense of the way. So again, so this right here, we don't get this entry. That one we would have got. Let's see. That one's not an entry. That's the 50 EMA. Right here's an entry. And we miss it. Here's an entry and we miss it. Well, that one we get, I guess. It finally changes. That's the original bias change. Well, I'm up for discussion. I wanted to show you that because mine has been set to EMA, and the more I have it on EMA, the more I'm more biased to that. On a single time frame, I like the SMA, but for the purpose of this indicator, I'd want the option to be able to change it to EMA primarily because if you can even do that. Can you do that?
Super easy.
Super. I thought you'd say that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it would take me probably an entire minute to make that change.
Listen to you. Humble much? No. It's okay. We know that you've got skills. We'll just try it out and see how it works. Because if most of my entries are based off of this EMA, and that is an EMA off of a higher time frame, I'm popping down and taking the simple entries on the next lower time frame. That's less significant to me. And just for conversation purposes, we can add here. We'll add on a moving average. We'll make this one the 50 exponential. We'll make it dark blue. This one's not nearly as significant. Did I do it wrong?
Looks like it just didn't take.
It's not listening, Linda. Exponential, simple. Okay.
Huh. I've seen this kind of goofiness before.
Well, can you tell me what happened?
Actually, set it to simple or set it to something else like a smoothed or something that might not be on your screen. Smooth or linear weighted, something like that. Let's see if that shows up. Aha. I wonder if if it was the same settings, if your white is an exponential right now.
It probably is actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't want to repeat it. That's probably what the deal was. So you can set that one to simple and then you can see the difference.
Simple. So the blue is simple. White is exponential. See that? I'm less concerned with these. I'm far more concerned with these because this is what's triggering our arrows. That's what's triggering our bias. It's what's triggering the overall big picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm more concerned with these ultimately. This is marginally off. So here's one, here's two. The blue is simple, right? Let's verify. Dark blue is simple. So the dark blue happens faster. That simple one happens faster, technically speaking, in most cases. So it happens faster here, faster here, faster here. But in terms of considering the trend, so I want that one to stay simple. I want the next one to be exponential because that's where the overall trend is coming from. You see that?
Okay, so yeah, I can put in a switch just for that. That's no problem. I'll make that part of the bug fix release.
Thank you.
But it will be an option. So if people are liking where they are, they can just stay there.
Fair enough. I agree.
What do you want as the default setting?
What do you think?
I'd say we keep it the way it is as the default.
Okay.
And then people can experiment with the other setting, but that way it won't look like a difference to people that are signing into this for the first time.
Fair enough. I agree. I do agree. So I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to change this to simple. And now I'm going to delete this red one. That's the simple SMA.
Oh, and by the way, I just want to say, because we got nearly 60 people listening right now. If you didn't read the telegram over the weekend, the bug that I discovered regards how the indicator is calculating its average true range. I did an exponential average true range, which isn't a standard indicator. I had to write my own and I blew it. So it's not giving you accurate results for the ATR. It's actually the standard ATR, however many periods ago you have set as your ATR period, which I think it defaults to 10. So it just means that your dots are not the right distance apart relative to, you know, where price is doing, what price is doing now. And so that's the place to be a little bit leery of, is just the dots with this version 8 indicator. And once I fix that up, it will be done, you know, according to what the real number is. For those who do any programming, it was integer truncation was the problem.
I'm sure everybody understood that, Scott. Hey, but how did you find it? So are the dots going to be further apart? So they're going to be more room?
Sometimes they'll be further apart and sometimes they'll be closer together. What it is it was looking at the ATR 10 periods ago.
Gotcha. So this just expired data.
Right.
Okay.
What it was is the routine is taking a snapshot from before the periods that you've got selected, and then it does calculations going forward from that point. And all it was getting was a snapshot, because the percentage that should have been like 18% turned out to be 0. And so no changes from there.
Okay, gotcha.
And I discovered that when I was working on the trade manager, and the distance on the dots wasn't making any sense to me.
Wow, we'll see. Small favors. How's the trade manager going?
I made huge progress over the weekend. If you want to know what I did over the weekend, I was working on that. I have all 10 trailing mechanisms are working properly now.
All 10.
And it is, it's going to be pretty cool. And of course, I want to add another feature.
Which feature?
And that's going to be an exit indicator, where you can specify that, you know, like if price closes below a moving average, you're out. If price closes below your Tenkan-sen, you're out.
How many options are you going to put into that?
Probably too many.
Okay, it has to be simple enough for people to love it. But I like having too many options personally.
Yeah, it depends on what trading strategy you're using. You know, if you're trading Ichimoku, you want to have some Ichimoku options.
True. Are you playing with Ichimoku?
I'm sorry?
Are you playing with Ichimoku?
I've played with it a lot over the years. And one of my trailing stop methods is you can set it to the Kijun-sen, the Tenkan-sen. You can set it to the Senku A or B, which is either side of the cloud, or you can set it to future cloud levels, which is also sort of cool, because the cloud, you know, like you say, the Senku span A, I think it is similar to a 50 moving average, but it's shifted to the right by whatever your Kijun-sen period is, which is by default, I think is 26, something like that. And so that would be more close to the 50 moving average by looking at the future one. It's a tighter stop, or you can do it at your current one. And actually the Senku span B future was a stop that for some of the runs that I was back testing on, it was the best stop. It kept me in a very long move and didn't take me out.
Which one?
Using the future Senku span B, or the bottom of the cloud in the future as my stop.
The bottom of the cloud in the future.
Right. So the rightmost, well, if you're trading up, for instance, it would be the bottom of that cloud in the future. So yeah, you'll need to move your chart to the left. There we go. So right now you're trading above the cloud. So it would be that bottom level of the cloud. That would be that stop.
Okay, did you just draw red right here?
Did that what?
Did you draw? Or no, that's just the Tenkan span. So if you entered right, so show me your entry, show me where you'd have your stop loss. It'd be here. Here, I'll annotate with my purple.
For where you are right now, your stop loss would be there. Yep. Actually, see where it turns up, it angles up at the right-hand side. It would be there, that level.
Okay. So if I took a TK cross here, this would be my stop loss.
Right. Well, that would be your trailing stop. You'd have an initial stop loss set by some other means. But yeah.
As the cloud increases, because this is going to continue up in theory, right?
Right.
Stop loss would be here when price is here, right?
Mm-hmm. So look back, see that big bullish candle?
Yes, sir.
Back, yeah, that guy right there. So notice where your cloud is right there. So it would start way down and would keep increasing as you go into the right. So it's trailing you up. So that's the future. So that turn up where you've kind of got like a ladle handle. Where that turns up, that's caused by that big candle. So it would be right there, it'd be immediately rising up if that's your stop.
So for example, if we took this trade, I'll go back to annotation. Okay. We took, God bless you, Derek, I'm pretty sure.
Excuse me. Yeah, sorry.
You sound like you need
Here,
some.
I'll mute myself.
Are you gonna have Barbara make you some hot tea now?
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Just don't touch her coffee.
Yeah, right.
Don't come next door for a cup.
You know he doesn't feel good if he's gonna leave it alone, you guys. You know
That's very true.
We should tell everyone. Okay, so we took this entry. Okay, this one.
Yep.
Okay, that means the cloud would be here. 26 candles in the future.
Yep. However,
been knocked
that's
out.
set up to be a trail, not an initial stop.
Okay, gotcha. So my initial stop would be here, but in this case,
Yep.
I would have been in profit X amount of pips already, right?
Right.
That means since I was in profit by here, my stop loss would have moved here. This is the cloud in the future. So this would have knocked us out. We agree?
Yeah, if you've gotten far enough to start your trail, yes. But however, you can also start your trail after you take your first partial take profit and then set to break even. And then it'll have your break even level, it will not set it above that break even level. So whichever is the lower in the case of selling is what the one that will take, and then it'll start to trail once you get beyond the break even. So if you take the re-entry just to the right of where we stopped out, now it's keeping you in for that entire ride down.
Okay, so again, all this is in theory, but that means I would have taken another TK cross here. My stop loss would be here as we continue to move down, and it would be hit here.
Right.
I like it. I like it. That's going to be an awesome trade manager. So you should get that all taken care of now.
And so the other thing I want to do is have an exit indicator in there as well, so that, like if you trade above the Kijun-sen, if you close above the Kijun-sen, you would allow it to wick. Your stop loss would still be above the Senku. But if you close above Kijun-sen, then you can gracefully exit at that point. Or maybe you have it so that if you get a TK cross opposite your trade, you bail, even though your stop's not hit.
But you have to consider what a TK cross is. So like here, let me take off my moving averages. I know how to do that in theory. Okay, delete. Okay, so this is technically a TK cross, but this, let's find a good example. Like the TK cross like sits on each other for a hot minute, like right here.
Yep.
It just sits on each other forever.
Yep, I fully know. And this is just an option. It depends on how you're trading.
This sits on each other forever. Well, this is one of the most accurate ways to trade still to date. This right here is pretty simple across the board, no matter how you use it. Like 1,000 ways to use it. This is still one of the best ways to trade. It just took me forever to see it.
Is this the standard settings or the faster settings?
Knowing me, it's probably the faster settings. Let's find out. Faster.
Yep, it is. And
showing 13 candles in the future.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. This is standard. But do you see what that just did? That means if you took this trade, for example, so here's your TK cross. I didn't pick this pair. I didn't pick this anything. Come on, silly butt. Please work. So we took that trade. This is the 4-hour chart. In
Whoa,
this
gold did a big push, by the way.
down or up. Nice, perfect. Well, we'll get our 40 pips out of that trade, give or take. I'm not interested in taking a bunch of swing trades because the market needs to decide directions. And like today, it's kind of being just silly. So I'm okay with getting a really nice, good, solid 40, 50 pip trade. So, and UCAD is still valid. So if you guys are scalping that up, wait for another pullback and take another entry until we hit the ADR high. It really is that simple. Okay, so here, TK crossover. We would have been in profit, so we would not have been taken out yet. But you see how high, let's say you're in profit here, right?
Yep.
That would make your stop loss up there, which is enormous.
Well, probably even farther ahead. It's going to be 26 candles forward now.
On the faster settings, that would work. I don't like it on those settings. Because like what? Look at the cloud and where it's at, how far it is from price. This is consolidating, although technically here, before we switch the settings, this quote unquote cloud consolidation is worth, not even measuring the whole move, 150 pips, right?
Yep.
That's a big quote unquote consolidate. Is that really only 150 pips?
Well, actually, if you look at the Chikusen, which is that red line that ends. Oh, you're changing to faster now.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. You want me to keep it here?
Just for the moment, you can keep. Okay. Let me get my annotation tool on. I'm going to be red. So your Chikusen ends right here and price is here. So this is the distance forward that your stop loss is going to be. You know, so when you enter here, your stop is going to be over in this neighborhood someplace here. And then it's coming down. By the time you get down here, you know, we're probably in the neighborhood of where price is right now. But this is the place where I would say, you know, if you're trading above the Tenkan-sen, which is this line right here, once you close above, that could be an exit. That's where you use your exit indicator relative to your stop. You give it room to run in case it's going to run, but you close yourself out if you cross above the line, for instance. But it depends on where you get into that as to whether that exit indicator, you know, probably you'd want to turn on, I'm thinking out loud here now, but maybe want to turn on your exit indicator after you've hit a certain level or a certain take profit, because if you're kind of trading out of consolidation, you don't know where things are going to be sitting. They're not going to be lining up right for your exit indicator to work.
True. Anybody else have any input on this? Anybody at all? Guys, you'll definitely get your 30, 40 pips on gold. Both 40 to 60 pips more accurately from the pullback. Anybody? Tarico? Which spread? Okay, well, they don't want to discuss Scott, so.
Hey, we're
Jen.
taking it in.
Hey, Steve-O, how can I help you?
Hey, I got about, I guess a little over 20 pips on gold when it shot back up from the pullback. I was just trying to figure out where it's gonna go from here. I'm looking at it on the hourly chart. You have a bullish, an engulfing bullish candle. I'm guessing it's gonna pull back at least 50% before it continues upward.
Well, this candle isn't closed, so let's see. It's 10:25 my time. So we still have, what, is that 35 more minutes to decide what this candle is going to do, right? This is our bullish engulfing candle. It did retest 50%. Okay. So can it come back, retest again before it breaks out? Absolutely. Can it wick up real quick? Also, absolutely. So here, let's go to the 4-hour time frame. We broke above average highs. So now all we're really looking for is structure. So actually, let's go to, I did Bitcoin. I took a bunch of trades on Bitcoin all weekend. It was fun.
Am I the only one not seeing the screen? Oh, hello, everybody.
Oh, here. Thank you for telling me, because I wouldn't have known.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So here's with the trend line. So we broke above this trend, right? And then Jenny didn't draw that. That's just kind of standard. These don't repaint. These are just showing you kind of look at me marks. So what price does from that is we're looking for a zone. Okay. We're looking to trade within the zone, just like the book about trading in the zone. So I'm going to go to higher time frame. And on a higher time frame, hey, somebody's got some massive background noise and I don't want to be rude. We don't want to eavesdrop. I muted everybody. Somebody's got some music on. At least if it was good music, I mean, I could be down with that, but you know. So here we are. This is our flag pattern. We broke above that. So can we come back, retest before we continue the upside? Absolutely. Do we have any guarantee on that? Definitely not. So here's our day chart, kind of showing you what price is doing. We'll go down to the 4-hour time frame really fast. And on the 4-hour time frame, we have an enormous flag pattern kind of forming. So let's get back to where current price is. I'll zoom out so you can see everything. Oh, where'd my little trend line indicator go? Totally is disappearing. So now that we've broken above everything, it's not going to show us now. What we'd be looking to see is something along the lines of drawing a trend on here is not easy. It's way easier on TradingView. Is for this to follow suit. So could we potentially see more upside to here if it will just drop kind of reasonably well? Yes. It's going to come in around the zone. And then we've got two options. It will, three technically. It can play around and then go up and down, or it can literally break, retest, and continue to the upside, or come up here, reject, play around, and fall. My guess is that they're pushed this big, with the exception of the economic climate of our country and the FOMO, as Scott so lovingly said this morning. My guess is it's got to pull back, personally, is I'd be waiting for it to drop once we have this nice push. So you have room for it to break the ADR high, come up slightly further, follow this trend line, right? 1, 2, run it through. That's all you're looking for a trend line. It's really, really that simple. I mean, it's gotten easier for me to sit up here and say that. Obviously, I didn't start there. But a trend line is pretty simple. It's just an area of interest. It's not something fancy or straight or perfect. You're looking for two touches, and price will react around this area, whether it's a pivotal area, whether it's a whole number, whether it's a supply or demand zone, it's going to react in this zone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I follow you.
Awesome. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Eric is in the group. He's getting gold trades right now. He should already know. He is posting markups on gold. That's how I see it. So how many more pips from where price is currently at? Give or take another 30-ish. You know, but I would play it safe. I mean, I'm never trying to catch the whole move. I'm just trying to catch the middle ground. Just the biggest chunk of the medium amount, if that made any sense. So maybe 44-ish, it's pushing hard. So there's a chance that this candle might wick and then drop. And then we'll see. Either way, you'd want it to retest 50% of this candle, which would line up with kind of this last fractal level that we just broke. We'd want it to retest that. And we would probably get a small fake out push to the upside before price decides what it's going to do. Did everybody just hit their take profits? Did everybody just get their 20, 50?
Yes.
Good job. Who's that?
Sorry, this is Robert.
Hey, Robert. How many pips did you get?
I got 24.
Okay, not bad. Who got more than 24? Catherine, my lady, she got 90. There you go.
Wow.
There you go. She's a beast. She's you again, I'm gonna say again, she could hear the joy in her voice, and it was awesome. It was awesome. She's just getting it. So my daughter is trying to schedule her driver's test, and you guys just closed a whole bunch of pips on gold. So it's a good day. It's definitely a good day.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
My first time trading gold. That was great.
That is? How many pips did you get?
Yeah.
How many pips did you get?
Well, I'm not the fastest with calculating pips, but I know it's $25.
Okay. What lot size?
That was 0.05.
That's not bad. So 0.05 is 50 cents a pip, give or take. I mean, obviously there's spreads and fees.
Right.
$25. If it was 50 cents a pip, you got about 50 pips. I mean, give or take, right?
Okay.
Not bad. You got 50 pips.
That's all.
Yep, and it didn't take very long. Not every day will be like that.
Right. Well, I really appreciate your experience, and I was listening to your first time with Six Figures with Triple Arrows, and I actually hearing DJ for the first time speaking, and just hearing his growth and hearing how you were talking to somebody else and explaining how you have to trust your trades and hold on and believe in that you believe in what you're doing is right. And just want to let you know that the classes and the videos, they help tremendously. I mean, when you and Scott talk, you're in the weeds, but you get what you can get, and you just get a little bit more every time you're in class. So it's great.
Did you just say you're in the weave?
In the weeds.
In the weeds. What does that mean?
You go out there that means
way
like
off the beaten path.
Yes, you're like deep in there, technical talk, and you go on, and like you said, you're talking about each remote cloud. I mean, that's some heavy stuff. So, but you just sit there and you absorb what you can.
Oh, Jenny, you're so pretty.
Thank you. I love you guys too.
Just throwing that out there.
Thank you. It's not. And somebody's got some way background noise on the manage participants. My Donna probably muted everybody. Okay, but yeah, I see what you're saying in the weeds. It took me a second to understand that, but we just want to create that environment where we can talk about the deeper stuff. If you don't get it, tune your ears off. But some of y'all are ready to learn some way more advanced things. And Scott and I, we interact well, we collaborate well, and y'all will learn a whole bunch, I promise.
No, for me, I'm not tuning out. I'm like they say, you whatever you can understand, and you learn more and more. So I'm here to hear the whole conversation. It's good, because every time I'm in class, I'm always picking up something.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad that these hangouts are kind of teaching people and learning. Sometimes we'll get a lot of pips, sometimes we'll take none. I do want to be making sure we're taking live trades every class, because I want you guys to see the comfort level in how I trade. Because this is it. Trading is not this, it's really not what people think it is. If I were to pick a trade, so this morning we picked gold, I made a decision. We picked it technically. Some of y'all got in, the guy who had to go to work, he probably got in late. The rest of you waited for the pullback, and our system gave us the pullback. In all fairness, we were golden. We got the pullback. So even from where the arrow was, which is right here, okay, that is a lot of pips. So that moved almost 80 pips, right? Some of you got one entry, then a second entry. Some of you stacked entries, but I made that decision, and then we hung out, and then we talked about charts and trade managers. I personally think that's the healthiest way. So when we do the million or 25, we can't call it 25 trades. We can call it the We the People challenge. But when we do this next challenge, which I'm hoping we can do in the next few weeks, ideally we're going to pick a trade. more than me is going to agree on it. We are going to make a decision, and then here, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to analyze it. We're not going to continue to freak out and wonder and worry. We're going to like dive into some new indicator, or let Scott talk about words we don't even know, if we're telling the truth. Like, I don't know what coding word he said about something in the APR. But like, the whole concept is, hold on, let me mute whoever. Robert.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. I'm like, Robert. But the whole concept is just to hang out and like talk about other things. If you want a healthy trading environment, that's the best thing for you. Because here, if we would just pick gold, so some of us got in early. Actually, I didn't take that. I missed out. I took some scalps this morning. I was happy with what I took. But, and then we sit here and stare at this. People are freaking out. People are messaging. People are fussing. And I'm not being judgmental when I say this, but at some point we have to adapt, and we have to grow. We have to learn. So watching this pull back when you have, let's just say 5-10 standards on this, that's a 50 pip pullback. Okay. This made people cry. I promise you. And it made people cry at a 0.05. You guys have to get to the point where you can handle this 50 pip pullback, trust your trade. If you had 10 standard lots on this, does anybody know how much of you'd be in drawdown, not including fees, with 10 standard lots on 50 pips? Does anybody have any idea?
Is it 5,000?
Should be 10,000.
So 10 standard on 50 pips, right? That's $100 a pip. Okay. So how many is that? 10 standards, $100. So it's
5,000, right?
5,000.
There you go. 5,000. Eric said he can do math now. I tell him. So that's the concept. What I'm hoping to do is kind of get off the point where we have to be so like hungry, twitchy, freaking out. Going, okay, what's this pair doing? What's it? Then somebody else screams about this pair. If we're going to take one trade to compound it on that level, I probably wouldn't want to do 25 to a million, because most people blow their account that way. One trade going against you 20 to 30 pips, you're almost guaranteed to blow your entire account. One trade, one time is all it'll take. So even if we did a little slower, this is the kind of setup I'd want, where we found one trade, we agree on it, we're going for that 50 pips. If we get more, great. If not, it's fine. But then we let it go. So we let it go and let it run without freaking and moaning and you know what I'm saying, right? Right? Does everybody get it? So.
I get it.
All right, awesome. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? I know Scott's working on the trade manager. Please be posting screenshots. Not that you need to take them all. Again, over leveraging your account is a sure way to fail. So just to go grab a couple of trades. So maybe there's some swings. Maybe yours closed in profit or closed in stop loss. So cool, you're looking for another one. The purpose of the screenshots in the group is not so you can be trade happy and take them all. It's so you can learn, evolve, gently critique each other. No one is accountable. Yes, we can say thank you. No one is to blame. No one is to blame either. So no one's accountable for the screenshot. You were accountable for your own trade, no matter who posted the screenshot. Just independent. So just give you something to look at.
Yeah. And so I put out the invitation. If you see something on my charts, please tell me.
I know, right?
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to have other eyes. So even me, the hard part about collaborating on that level is to say, well, I see this. The hard part about that is I need other people who are willing to say, well, okay, I see this. And it's not about somebody being righter than me or wronger than me or better or worser. It's about being able to see things from unique perspectives in a way that protects all of our very, very, very high risk account to trade on that level. Those are the people we need to be taking this whole, couple trades to 6-7 figures with. That's it. That's what it'll take, is people who are willing to say, well, I don't know, because of this, but in a gentle, loving way. So please do critique lovingly.
Yeah. I was playing letting the last 2 days sessions run on my television, and well, the love one was crazy, but when you would call a trade, it was neat to, good to see the entire development when you call the trade, you could see all the indicators go into the right position. And so it was good to see.
I'm glad like that. If I can teach you something, it's not going to be something that's special or magic. It's, I see what I see. I'm pretty confident of what I see. I know that we have a very high probability of going this high. If not, we'll be protected. And that means even if it pulled back, and this one pulled back 50 pips, somebody freaked out, 50 people had their stop losses hit, and a few of you held on to say, I trust my analysis, I know what I'm doing. Or you waited for the better entry. But that's the level of, to understand it works.
Yeah, because there was even one I was like, gold is moving, and you go, no, not yet. And then you said, now it's moving, and that was a good lesson for me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we held that. I held that trade from Thursday. And actually a friend of mine here, he was like, I lost those trades. I said, well, I asked in the group how many other people won them. And a lot of other people won them. I was like, well, you're the only one then. That's all. Because seriously, my trades I held, they all hit. They went exactly where I said in that case. And not it won't always happen. A lot of times I will be wrong. I'm human. But in that case, it consolidated like this and then finally took off. So it finally went where it was supposed to go. It just took a day and a half to do it, which happens.
Right.
It does definitely happen. All right. Does anybody have any questions, comments, indicator things, news things? Ideally, we all want to take a few trades and then chit chat and answer questions or look for some swings and then hop off. So is there anything I can do for you at all? Because you got your 50 to 90 pips, give or take, in all fairness.
Hey, Jenny, I have a question.
Yes, Ian, how can I help you?
On that trend, on the trend line indicator that you have up. So what are, obviously they're all trend lines, but what are the other lines showing? Or like, which is the one we need to focus on the most?
The trend lines?
Yeah, on that indicator.
Okay, I'll unmute your phone.
Okay.
Now I'll answer your question. Sorry, there's no way I can answer. So you should focus on all of them. They do have different colors. You can kind of, when you hold your mouse over them, it'll tell you a little bit in terms of, depending on what broker you're using too, it actually sets up a little bit different. It'll tell you whether it's if it's long, if it's short. Sometimes it'll tell you, what is it? How many candles, how many touches? I'm not even 1,000% sure. But what should you pay attention to? All of them. 3 touch. So underline now, underline 8, normal and long. Catherine, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you saying? 3 touch?
The white is 3 touch, and then they've got the kind of orangey color that is the long, and then you've got the other color which I changed is the normal. So you have a more like a current trend line. So you have a long-term trend line, you have a short-term trend line. Normal is a short-term, and then you've got a 3 touch, meaning likely to. I think some traders, they like 3 touch because when it's 3 touch, usually it will kind of reverse.
Oh, gotcha. I see what you're saying. So I'm not too familiar with the 3 touch concept. Like, so here's how I use them. Catherine just explained to you better than me, but what I use them for is simple direction. If it breaks this area of interest, okay, I'm looking for, a continuation. If it rejects off that area of interest, I'm looking for a short pullback, typically to the next area of interest. So in this case, we pushed above the AVR high. We're kind of hitting that other trend line thing I drew. So you guys saw me draw that. I'm willing to bet it's going to hit that level. But if it's going to pull back, for example, here's an area of interest. Here's another area of interest. Here's another area of interest. How much of a pullback we're going to get depends. So if it breaks this one, I'm waiting for it to continue. If it breaks here, I know it's going to break out. Here, I'll get my annotation tool to show you. This is how I use it. You guys know by now, I'm just not too fancy. It's going to retest. Odds are it's going to break out. It will retest somewhere in this zone before it continues. So then if I'm looking for a pullback, this would be my target. my overall target. And of course, if we break here, I'm going to expect, because the gap in between these, I'm going to expect some consolidation and then a breakout, retest, and a drop. That's how I see this. In terms of the lines of the colors of the lines and all that stuff, I know that one of them is long term, one of them is medium term. I know that one of them is long term, is what I know is the biggest, most important one. But if it breaks that, then obviously that's a big deal. Other than that one, I don't really even know what those numbers mean, if you want the truth. I don't know.
Yeah, and once it breaks, right, it kind of will automatically redraw the lines, or if the candles change in terms of direction. So it's pretty sensitive. I've used it. I really liked it.
So I'm just looking. So this is, in my opinion, it's just a straight line drawer. Okay, that's it. I can't draw straight lines on my MT4. Obviously, with TradingView, it's much simpler to draw straight lines. So if this price is going up, we want to know to what angle it's going up. So right now we broke past this short-term trend, to speak more accurately, right? We broke past this one. Okay, cool. We have another 2 to break through. They're not, support and resistance isn't like this brick wall. It's more like a feather. If we knock it over, we know that we're going to kind of push back. So we knew that, okay, it retested this. We should see it pull back up. If we don't break here, okay, all the way throughout here, we're looking for it to continue back to the downside. By how much? Any one of these areas of interest. You can do it with trend lines, or you can do it with support and resistance. I happen to like trend lines better. I just find it to be more accurate long term.
Thank you.
You're welcome. With all your background noise. How rude. No, I'm joking.
Starbucks.
Starbucks sounds good. Actually, it sounds amazing. It sounds really good. All right, guys, are there any other questions, comments, indicators, things I can answer or help you in any way with? Anybody at all? Going once?
I've got one question on AAFX. I can't find the 2000 to 1 in there.
Did you message him?
Pardon?
Did you message them and ask them the leverage? Like,
No, I didn't. I'm just trying to get in there.
what country you live in? America?
Yes.
Okay. So when you sign up with AFX, you should be able to choose your leverage, choose ECN, and then you can choose 2001. You can also message them. Their customer service is really good. They're always instantly available in the chat. That's one of their blessings. They're very, very good. So
Yeah, on their box, they only show up to 1,000.
they might have changed that. I don't know. It might be something that the account type you're choosing, it might be location based. It might be a current set of situations.
I'll get in contact with them then.
Guess is here. I'll go to it right now. Let's see what I come up with. AFX.com. Cancel.
They still advertise 2000 to 1.
Well, then odds are they have it. Then there's just a AFX broker. Then it's just a human error thingy, which we all know I do too. So let's see if we can find it. So I'm gonna go to new share, basic. Let's go to this share. We'll send you notifications. Please quit sending me emails, people. Okay, close this. So let's say I want to open a live account. Oh man.
Is it best to be as an individual or a business in there?
Well, do you have an LLC or an S corp or even a DBA you can use?
I've got a LLC.
Mm-hmm. You'll have all of my personal information at this point. Okay, I gotta close that. Sorry, I can't. You can totally do that. AFX, hold on. This is on YouTube. AFX trading login. Let's try this again. I'm not going to create an account because I can't give out any more information of things that we don't want to have on YouTube. So I am not a good video maker. I don't know how to blur stuff out. I don't even know how to get a stinking intro on this thing. You have no idea at all. So I don't want to put that on there. Log in. Leverage. Okay. So it advertises, what are you getting? This is actually much, much better than most brokers offer, just so you know. So 1 to 200.
They say go down to 25.
The maximum leverage will be 1 to 2,000. And this leverage in these account types is restricted to the account size of up to 20,000. Above 20,000 and 250,000 leverage will drop to 1 to 1,000, right? And further down to 1 to 500, anything above $250,000, no further restrictions. So the lowest you can go in this broker, depending on when or if you change this, again, some people don't say that this happens less than 20,000. So I have discussed this in depth with people who are bigger traders, and they say that their leverage is lowered at $10,000. I have not, everyone's experience is a little different. So the average is 20,000. I'm going to say that. But when you sign up, you should be able to do it. So you go to open a live account, log in, do what you need to do, type in your information, right?
Right.
Okay, so can you click it? Like once you do that, you know that you're going for an ECN, right?
Right.
Okay. So what's happening? Do you want to share your screen or?
I don't have it up right now, but I was getting to the point to where I went to Coinbase and signed up with that so I could transfer money.
Okay.
And then when I filled theirs out, I got accepted for all of the information I sent them. I just need to fund it, I guess. But it was just coming back with 1,000 to 1 option.
Oh, you would message them and say, hey, can you change my leverage to 2001?
Pardon?
The customer service is really good. You can message them and say, hey, can you pretty please change my leverage to 2001? Their customer service is really good. Like they'll help you with anything. Quick.
Yeah, I had a similar experience, and I just had them change it to 2001, and they did that instantly.
Okay, that's what I would do is just message them. I would walk you through, but like I'm gonna end up putting my address, my phone, and my daughter's phone number. I don't want that. I mean, this is unlisted, but still, I'm not all that good at video yet. I'm a good trader. I never said I have mastered YouTube at all. Okay. Catherine said their online chat is very quick. They withdraw at lightning speed. They are very, to me, they're one of the better brokers. Can I guarantee you'll have the same results? Nope, I can't. It's still your choice. But they withdraw faster than any other broker I've ever worked with. Their leverage is high. No swaps, large spreads, no commissions. But for swing trading, they are ideal because think about it this way. Like you can, if I go back to the margin leverage, you can honest to God effectively turn $1,000 into like 18-ish thousand and withdrawal every 2 weeks or so. You can turn it into, less than 10,000 withdrawal and go from there, depending on whether or not your leverage changes at 10,000 or 20,000, which is a debatable topic depending on who you're asking. I'm not sure why that's the case, but either way, withdraw right before they change your leverage and then just keep growing it. So a very big time trader, he owns and operates that other company. I'm pretty sure he would just withdraws at 18,000 and then he goes on with his, week or two. And he does that like every week or two to give you an idea. And that's not starting with a boatload of money. It's starting with a couple hundred or $1,000, takes his swings. He focuses on a few pairs a week and that's it. A trade a day. That's it.
Is it best to pull that back to like PayPal?
So with this broker particularly, what I would do is you click withdrawal. You withdraw it to Bitcoin into your Coinbase. From your Coinbase, I deposit it to my bank account for no fees. It takes 1 to 3 days, but I'm not willing to keep paying 3% and 5% and 10% of my fees away because I pay enough fees on my monies. So I think that's the best way. From PayPal, you can A, get a PayPal debit card, B, transfer it to your bank account, C, I don't know what the secret option C is, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I read they said it was instant with PayPal or something.
Well, it's instant back to PayPal, but then from PayPal to your bank, you can either do instant and pay a percentage, or you can do 1 to 3 days and pay no percentage. I typically choose that option because it still technically happens within that first day or so. And I'm not willing to continue to give percentages of my money I don't have to.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
You are welcome. Sorry, I don't want to like walk you through it. I would love to walk you through it, but I can't walk you through it. So I just don't know enough about like blurring stuff out on videos and editing them and cutting stuff out. So I just am not all that skilled in that area, but I'm working on it. Painfully, I'm working on it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, comments, information of any kind, indicators, news? Anybody at all?
Hello, Jenny.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Hi, I'm new to the group.
Welcome.
I just signed on actually a couple days ago. I was wondering about the indicator. I guess that one you were going over this morning with Scott. How did I need to get that?
The MACD.
Yeah, the MACD indicator. I think you use it for scalping or.
Okay.
Just
That's in the We the People Forex family, Miss Donna. You can message her. She'll make sure you're added. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And that is linked to this group, so it will stop working when you are not active. So it's kind of an all-around custom built indicator, and it works really, really, really well. So Scott put a lot of his hard work into it. He improved it exponentially. It really is a simple thing, kind of based off of my very simple strategy, but it's powerful. And the more people that you hear on here, that you're learning that people are only using that at this point. They're walking away from other things because it just works that simply.
Okay. Awesome. So you said I need to contact Miss Donna or get her email.
Telegram is better. Or Donna, what's your last name, Maurice?
Brown.
Here we go. Here's what I'm gonna do. Donna, I'm dropping that link again. Sorry, but it needs to view group information. I will drop the link and then it'll be in there. She'll just have to change it in a couple of days. She kind of is in charge of managing everything.
So the link will actually be in the Signals group on the Telegram.
Yes.
Okay.
Donna, can you share that link in the Signals group and the Telegram?
Yes.
Well, again, I'm trying to save you the ton of like independent messages because that's exhausting.
Okay. Another thing.
All right, awesome. And then if you can't get in after that, then let us know. Okay.
Okay. Also, another thing. So I opened up a demo account with Hugo's Way. I just kind of wanted to start demo first a little bit. And plus start with a short amount of money, a small amount of money. With, a couple $100, what have you. I was looking at their leverage. I think it was like 500 to 1.
That's correct.
That was in the demo. Is it good to start off with 500 to 1, or should I be at like 1,000 to 1? I heard you guys kind of discussing that. I'm just trying to really understand this leverage thing. It's kind of because I don't want to blow my account or anything like that because I'm not leveraged correctly or have my account taken. I'm just trying to kind of understand it all.
Maurice,
yes.
If you work on understanding money management, leverage is just a tool. Having too much leverage is not going to hurt you if you don't, use too large a lot size or have your stop losses too far away. You just need to understand what you're risking relative to what you have in your account.
Okay.
So spend some time with risk management. I'd go for all the leverage you can get. It allows you to be in more positions. And what you want to just be careful of is how much size you put on a trade.
Right.
because you can take the same trade at 50 to 1 leverage as you can at 2,000 to 1 leverage. It's just that you can do more of them with higher leverage.
Okay.
I agree with that. So I would do the higher leverage, and I say it consistently that if you're one of those people who are consistently saying, well, what if I only don't want a lot of risk, or I want a registered broker and da 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 da. Here's the reality: you'll make more money driving for Uber than you will with a broker that has 50 to 1 leverage. And that's, it's kind of blunt, but it's also kind of necessary.
Unless you have a large account balance.
Unless that's correct, unless you're starting with 10, 20, 50, well, 6 figures really. If you have less than that, but at the end of the day, it is just a tool, and the 500 to 1 is enough. It is enough, but you cannot scalp. You can't really grow it as fast. But so here's everything's kind of a hit and miss. So you can't scalp on AFX if we're being honest, because the spread is too high. The blessing with AFX is there's no swaps, right? And commissions for holding trades for days and weeks. So AFX is great for compounding over time. It's phenomenal for intraday trades. Unfortunately, because of the spread alone, you would have to be, your accuracy would need to be so exceptional. It makes it very unrealistic and difficult to scalp on AFX. It's not impossible, but it's just difficult. Okay. So your best bet is Hugo's Way for that. And I do love Hugo's Way. Again, they have great customer service, good people, reasonable withdrawal time, and their 500 to 1 works. Plus they have crypto, but they also have fees. So it kind of goes with the territory. Just know that you're really not going to get higher than, if you're really good and you're accurate, 15% is the most you can go for. 20, 25 if you're a saint, but most people don't have that. So for you and most people on this call, 10, 15% is probably the highest you can go in terms of risk or reward per trade. Okay.
Okay.
Jenny.
Yes, he?
Yeah. Can you set up my charts this evening's class, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Are you going to share your screen tonight?
I can share it now if you want.
Now I'm going to get off. So can you come on tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that.
Fair enough. And we're going to set up your screen however you need it. Deal?
Okay, yeah. One question. You said about the brokers you just talked about now. So you said AFX is good for intraday. So basic, but not good for scalping, if I got it correct.
I think she meant to say interday. So between days, multiple day trades.
Okay.
Intraday or swing trading for AFX. Yes, Scott's right. And then Hugo's Way is great for scalping. If you don't have my links, maybe Donna can send them to you. Pretty please, Donna.
No, I've signed up on both Hugo's Way and AFX. Yeah,
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, but back to AFX, to Hugo's Way. I pressed on the download MT4 button, but it gave me, what's it called? It gave me MT5.
Oh, I can't help you with that. Scott, can you help him with that?
I was able to do it. I don't remember how. What you can do, however, is if you take a look in the Scalp to Freedom, well, what is it now? It's We the People group. Derek posted an MT4 setup.
Okay.
That he had downloaded prior.
Okay, absolutely. I'll check
so
that.
I think he did that yesterday, so you should be able to find that easily.
Absolutely, I'll do that. Thank you. Yeah, that's not an issue.
Hey guys, real quick, gold is hitting that. Remember, I drew the red line. It's kind of coming up right there. So now we're at an area of interest. So just to zoom it out, here's our flag. Okay, we broke above it, and that's the bottom line. I drew that red line. It's not fancy. It's not perfect. 1, 2, run it through. We are breaking above that. But keep in mind, this candle is not closed yet. So seeing how this candle closes in an hour, I would want to see if this continues pushing up and wicks down. Either way, even for the continuation of the upside, we're going to need to retest some of this. So if you're still holding some of that, good job. Take your profits. If you're holding from anywhere where I said you've got well over 100 pips, most of you averaged at least 50 on today's call, so that's phenomenal. But just make sure you protect that. Don't go for the long-term 1700. Just give it a breather, okay? Pretty please, pretty please. I'm asking. Dater, come to tonight's class and I will help you set up your chart as long as you have the MT4 downloaded, okay?
Yeah. And one more thing, is it okay to scalp the London session?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Good. Yeah, I just woke up, so I'm kind of tired, but I'll do
The
it.
other thing is that if you set up a demo account with Hugo's Way or even a real account, any MT4 platform will be able to log into that account.
True.
It doesn't need to be the Hugo's Way platform.
Okay, so I can use my AFX account? AFX
Absolutely. It's just that you can't be in two accounts at one time simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
So you just say sign into a new account and then you enter your broker and you can search for that broker name. You know, you put in Hugo and it'll come up with the Hugo's Way real and demo, and you select the appropriate one, and then you just put in your login credentials and you should be good to go.
Okay, so I don't even need to download it. I can just use AFX.
Yes, you can. It's just that it's handy to have two platforms. So ultimately getting Hugo's Way platform installed, I think, is a good idea.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
I mean, I've got 5 different platforms that I hang on to around here.
You should tell me which ones you have, Scott, because I'm not in love with one of the platforms. It's just really slow, bogs down.
Scott, do
I
you
think
scalp
that's
or
going
do
to
you
be
do
just
intraday?
a matter of cleaning up your MT4, because the only thing that is different between brokers, honestly, is the logo that shows and the default broker that shows. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's meta quotes that's updating you all the time, and just the branding stays the same.
Okay. Scott, are you scalping or what do you do? What kind of trade style do you have?
The answer is yes.
And how do you know Jenny?
Here.
Here, okay. I thought it sounds like you've been friends for years or something.
Sounds too personal.
I am a professional money loser.
Fair enough. We do work well together. We do sound like we've known each other years. He's an awesome guy, though. I am not a professional money loser. I wouldn't keep saying that and putting that into your energy, Scott. Like, that's not helpful.
I was just thinking that after our conversation the other day.
Don't put that out in the world, man. Just
Yeah, see, they get it. They get it.
yeah, man.
Listen, no, you can't do it. Mm-mm. All right, guys. Hey, well, I super appreciate you coming to hang out with me. I'm glad that we got to take one really good, solid trade. Let's see. Other than that, if you guys have any questions, comments, please come to the call tonight. Let's go over some live topics. Let's look for some swing trades, trying to keep the main thing to the best of our ability, and just go from there. Tomorrow, or more accurately Thursday, again, we're going to go for anybody who wants to look for scalps, great. But I'm also going to be going for that couple of trades where we can just easily get our 50, 100 pips, depending on the pair. And that's it, because that's hundreds of pips a week, especially if you, without scalp stacking, it's hundreds of pips. And I promise you, that's enough to make a huge mess in your life. I mean, a good mess. I meant that in the good way.
Are we gonna do that Thursday?
That sounds great.
Are we gonna do that Thursday?
I'm sorry?
We're gonna do that Thursday or?
Thursday, we'll take another trade. Tonight, if you want me to help you set up your chart, let me click through some 4-hour swing trades as Pat requested. And then tonight, I will personally make sure we have your chart exactly what you need it to be. But in between right now and then, Dater, I need you to make sure you have your MT4 platform. I need you to make sure you have your indicators downloaded into the indicator file so I can help you with that.
Okay, absolutely. I'll sort that out.
All right, awesome. Well, happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy trading. Thank you so much. I adore you all. Have a fantastic day.
Oh, and by the way, one quick thing is just that if you already have the indicators downloaded to your AFX platform, you won't need to download them again if you just sign into a different account. All those indicators will still be with you.
Okay, so I just copy them over to the new account.
Yep, that works too.
Yeah, done that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Well, thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you guys.
Bye, all.